Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Bold and beautiful today. Brooke seduces Bill again to get revenge on Katie. Katie speechless as Deacon reveals Bill and Brooke's secret. Bill Spencer stood alone near the floor-to-ceiling windows, a glass of bourbon untouched in his hand. Los Angeles glittered below him, but his thoughts were elsewhere. Katie. Always Katie. The divorce papers still sat on his desk, unsigned. Not because he wanted her back, he didn't, but because part of him enjoyed the unresolved tension. The control. That was when the doorbell rang. Bill frowned. No one ever came here unannounced. When he opened the door, his breath caught. Brooke Logan stood there, impeccably dressed, confidence radiating from every inch of her. "Well," Bill said slowly, his signature smirk forming. "If it isn't destiny knocking." Brooke smiled, but there was nothing warm about it. "Can I come in?" A dangerous reunion. Minutes later, Brooke stood inside the living room, her eyes drifting over the familiar space. So much history. So many secrets. "You look good," Bill said, circling her like a predator. "What brings you back into my orbit?" Brooke turned to him. "You already know." Bill chuckled. "Katie." Brooke didn't deny it. "She's made it very clear where I stand," Brooke said coolly. "She's humiliated me. Shut me out. Treated me like I'm nothing." Bill raised a brow. "You're not nothing, Brooke. You're trouble." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "And you love trouble." The air between them crackled. Familiar, dangerous, intoxicating. Bill studied her. "So this is revenge." Brooke met his gaze without flinching. "This is justice." Katie's growing unease. Across town, Katie Logan sat at her kitchen table, staring at her phone. She hadn't heard from Bill all day. That alone was unsettling. When her phone finally buzzed, she grabbed it, only to see Deacon Sharp's name. Her stomach tightened. "Deacon," she answered cautiously. "I think you should come by Illinois Giardino," Deacon said, his voice strained. "There's something you need to hear." Brooke plays her hand. Back at the Spencer mansion, Brooke poured herself a drink, deliberately unhurried. "You know," she said, "Katie always pretended she was better than us. Morally superior." Bill smirked. "She loved standing above us." Brooke turned, her eyes burning. "And now she's alone. Just like she wanted." Bill took a step closer. "Careful, Logan. You're starting to sound bitter." Brooke smiled faintly. "I'm starting to sound honest." She reached out, straightening his tie, an intimate gesture loaded with meaning. "You and I," she continued, "we understand each other. Power. Desire. Consequences be damned." Bill's jaw tightened. "You're playing a dangerous game," he warned. Brooke's voice dropped. "So are you." For a long moment, neither moved. Then Bill laughed softly. "God help us. Deacon knows the truth." Katie arrived at Illinois Giardino tense and confused. Deacon was already waiting, pacing near a corner booth. "What's going on?" Katie demanded. "You sounded." Deacon stopped, facing her fully. "I saw Brooke." Katie froze. "Where?" "At Bill's house." The world tilted. "That's not," Katie began. "I didn't just see her," Deacon said quietly. "I heard them." Katie's breath caught. "Heard what?" Deacon hesitated. "They're working together. And it's not just business." Katie sank into the booth, her face draining of color. "No," she whispered. "Brooke wouldn't." Deacon's eyes softened. "She already has." The secret deepens. That night, Brooke lay awake in Bill's guest room, staring at the ceiling. She told herself she was in control, that this was strategy. But when Bill appeared in the doorway, his expression unreadable, her pulse betrayed her. "You staying?" he asked. Brooke met his gaze. "Only if you want me to." Bill smiled slowly. "You always knew how to ask." This wasn't about love. This was about power. And they both knew it. Katie confronts the past. The next morning, Katie stood outside the Spencer mansion, her heart pounding. When Bill opened the door, surprise flickered across his face, then annoyance. Katie, this isn't a good time. She pushed past him. Where is she? Bill's expression hardened. You don't get to barge in here. Where is Brooke? Katie demanded. Before he could answer, Brooke appeared at the top of the stairs. Calm, composed, unapologetic. Katie, Brooke said gently, you look upset. Katie stared at her sister, disbelief turning to fury. You, Katie whispered. After everything. After what you did to our family before, you came back for more. Brooke descended the stairs slowly. You pushed me out. Katie laughed bitterly. So you crawled into my ex-husband's bed. Bill stepped in. That's enough. Katie turned on him. You never change. Deacon drops the bomb. Just as the confrontation threatened to explode, the front door opened again. Deacon walked in. Everyone froze. I told her, Deacon said quietly. About the deal. About the nights you thought no one knew. Brooke stiffened. Deacon. Katie looked between them. What deal? Deacon met her eyes. They've been seeing each other longer than you think. Silence crashed down like thunder. Katie's legs nearly gave out. How long? She asked, her voice barely audible. Bill didn't answer. Brooke swallowed. Long enough, Deacon said. Katie stared at her sister, then at Bill. Her voice broke. I defended you. Brooke's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't deny it. Katie stepped back, shaking her head. I have nothing left to say. She turned and walked out, leaving devastation behind her. Aftermath. Later, Brooke stood alone in Bill's living room, the weight of her choices finally settling in. You got what you wanted, Bill said quietly. Brooke nodded. Yes. But her voice lacked conviction. Somewhere across the city, Katie sat in her car, staring at nothing, her world shattered, not by strangers, but by the two people she trusted most. And Deacon? He watched from the sidelines, knowing one truth above all others. This secret wasn't finished destroying lives. It had only just begun. Brooke seduces Bill again to get revenge on Katie. The city lights shimmered like scattered diamonds beyond the towering windows of the Spencer mansion, but Brooke Logan barely noticed them. She stood alone in Bill Spencer's living room, her reflection faint in the glass, poised, flawless, and furious. Katie had crossed a line. Again. Brooke pressed her lips together, anger coiling beneath her calm exterior. She had spent years swallowing judgment, enduring whispers, and accepting blame for everyone else's mistakes. And yet, somehow, Katie always managed to paint herself as the wounded innocent while Brooke bore the scars. Not this time. This time, Brooke was done playing small. The sound of footsteps echoed behind her. Bill Spencer stopped short when he saw her. Well, I'll be damned, he drawled. I was wondering when you'd show up. Brooke turned slowly, her expression unreadable. You sound disappointed. Bill's mouth curved into a knowing smile. Never disappointed when it comes to you, Logan. Old chemistry, new agenda. Bill poured himself a drink, offering her one with a raised brow. No, Brooke said smoothly. I want a clear head tonight. That caught his attention. You usually don't, he said. She stepped closer, her voice calm, measured. Tonight isn't about impulse. It's about truth. Bill studied her, sensing something different, sharper. Katie again, he guessed. Brooke didn't deny it. She's made it very clear that she thinks she's better than me. Morally superior. Untouchable. Bill scoffed. Katie's always like that pedestal. Brooke's eyes flashed. She took everything from me. My place. My voice. My family's respect. Bill took a step closer. And you're here because? Because, Brooke said softly, you're the one thing she's never been able to control. The words lingered between them. Bill's smile faded slightly. Careful. That's a dangerous line. Brooke met his gaze. We've never been afraid of danger. Katie's confidence. Across town, Katie Logan sat in her living room, scrolling through her phone, unaware that her world was already shifting. She believed the worst was behind her. Brooke had been shut out. Bill was distant, but manageable. For once, Katie felt steady. I finally won, she murmured to herself. She didn't see the storm gathering. Brooke crosses the threshold. Back at the Spencer mansion, Brooke drifted closer to Bill, invading his space without touching him. You and I, she said quietly, we've always understood each other. Power, desire, consequences. Bill's jaw tightened. You're playing me. Brooke smiled faintly. No, I'm reminding you. She reached up, straightening his collar, a familiar, intimate gesture that sent a jolt through him. You hate being controlled, she continued. You hate being told who you can love, what you can feel. Bill exhaled sharply. And you hate being underestimated. Their eyes locked. That's why Katie can never understand us, Brooke whispered. Bill laughed under his breath. God help me. A calculated 4 days passed. Brooke began appearing more often, at Bill's office, at Spencer Publications, at carefully chosen moments. Always composed. Always magnetic. Always just out of reach. Bill told himself it meant nothing. Until it meant everything. He found himself waiting for her texts. Watching the elevator doors. Listening for her heels in the hallway. She was everywhere. And Katie noticed. You've been distracted, Katie said one afternoon, narrowing her eyes at Bill. Is something going on? Bill barely looked up from his laptop. Business. Katie frowned. You used to talk to me. Bill finally met her gaze. Maybe I'm tired of talking. The distance stung. Katie didn't know where it was coming from, but she felt it. Brooke turns the knife. One evening, Brooke joined Bill on the terrace, the city spread out beneath them. Do you remember, Brooke said lightly, when Katie begged me to stay away from you? Bill smirked. She begged a lot. She always thought she could rewrite history, Brooke said. As if wanting you was something I should be ashamed of. Bill's expression darkened. You never should have been. Brooke leaned against the railing. Katie built her confidence on my guilt. Bill turned toward her fully now. And now? He asked. Brooke's voice was steady. Now I'm taking it back. Katie feels the shift. Katie stood in Brooke's doorway later that week, arms crossed. You've been awfully close to Bill lately, she said. Brooke remained calm. We're friends. Katie scoffed. You don't do just friends with Bill Spencer. Brooke's smile was polite, but sharp. Neither do you. Katie's eyes narrowed. Stay away from him. Brooke stepped closer. You don't get to tell me where I belong anymore. Katie left shaken. For the first time, doubt crept in. Bill gives in. The night everything changed, a storm rolled in off the coast. Brooke arrived soaked from the rain, hair damp, eyes blazing. You came, Bill said quietly. I needed to, she replied. He closed the door behind her. They didn't touch at first. They didn't have to. You know this ends badly, Bill said. Brooke met his gaze. It always does. That was the truth of them. Not love. Not innocence. Just fire. And Bill surrendered to it. The revelation. Katie found out the only way she ever did. Too late. A glance. A pause too long. A truth she couldn't ignore. She confronted Brooke in the middle of Forrester Creations, her voice trembling. You went back to him, Katie said. Brooke didn't deny it. Yes. Katie stared at her sister, stunned. Why? Brooke's eyes filled. Not with regret, but resolve. Because I was done being your villain. Katie stepped back, speechless. You took him from me, Katie whispered. Brooke shook her head. No. I showed you who he really was. And who I am when I stop apologizing. Aftermath. Bill stood alone later that night, staring out at the ocean, the weight of his choices heavy. Brooke stood elsewhere, knowing the damage was done. And Katie? Katie sat in silence, her world cracked open, not by strangers, but by the people she trusted most. Brooke had her revenge. But revenge, like love, always came with a price. And this time, everyone would pay. Deacon Sharp stood behind the bar, wiping down the same spot for the third time, his mind racing. Every sound, the door creaking, the hum of the refrigerator, made him tense. His life had become a series of calculated moves lately. One wrong step, one wrong person overhearing the wrong conversation, and everything he'd rebuilt would come crashing down. That was when the door opened. Deacon looked up, and immediately knew this was not a coincidence. Katie Logan walked in. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't angry either. She was composed, focused, dangerous in the way only someone with a plan could be. "Well," Deacon said slowly, setting the towel aside. "To what do I owe this pleasure?" Katie closed the door behind her and took a measured breath. "We need to talk. An uneasy alliance begins." Deacon gestured toward a corner booth. "After everything we've both been through, I'm guessing this isn't about catching up." Katie sat across from him, folding her hands neatly on the table. "No," she said. "This is about survival." That caught his attention. Deacon leaned back. "Mine or yours?" Katie met his eyes, unflinching. "Both." For a moment, neither spoke. There was history here. Bad history. Broken trust. Old wounds that never fully healed. "You don't just show up here without a reason," Deacon said. "So let's hear it." Katie exhaled slowly. "My sister is playing a very dangerous game." Deacon stiffened. "Brooke." Katie nodded. "She thinks she's untouchable. That she can take what she wants and rewrite the story afterward." Deacon let out a humorless laugh. "That sounds familiar." Katie's eyes sharpened. "And this time, she's wrong." Katie's motivation. Deacon studied her carefully. "What do you want from me?" Katie leaned forward slightly, lowering her voice. "I want leverage." Deacon frowned. "Against Brooke?" "Against the lie she tells herself," Katie replied. "That she's always the victim. That everyone else is disposable." Deacon's jaw tightened. "You're asking me to go up against Brooke Logan." "I'm asking you to stand up for yourself," Katie corrected. "Something you've been trying to do ever since you rebuilt this place." She glanced around Illinois Giardino. "You worked hard for this. You stayed clean. You played by the rules. And still, people like my sister look down on you like you're a mistake that never went away." Deacon said nothing, but his silence spoke volumes. Katie softened her tone. "I know what it's like to always come second. To always be the reasonable one while someone else gets all the grace." She paused. "I'm done with that." "The offer." Deacon leaned forward. "So where do I fit into this?" Katie's lips pressed together briefly. Then she said the words that would change everything. "I might be able to help you fulfill your dreams," she said quietly. "And you might be able to help me prove my sister wrong." The air shifted. Deacon blinked. "My dreams?" Katie nodded. "Expansion. Investors. Real respect. Not the kind that disappears the moment Brooke Logan decides you're inconvenient." Deacon scoffed. "You think you can give me that?" "I know I can," Katie replied calmly. "I have contacts, business leverage, and a very clear understanding of how Spencer money moves." That made him still. "And in return?" he asked. Katie's gaze hardened. "I need the truth. Every secret. Every time Brooke overplays her hand." Deacon swallowed. "You want me to spy on her?" "I want you to protect yourself," Katie said. "And help me protect my son." That landed. Deacon's voice dropped. "This has something to do with Bill." Katie didn't deny it. Everything does. Doubt and temptation. Deacon stood up, pacing. "You're asking me to walk a dangerous line," he said. "Brooke doesn't forgive betrayal." Katie rose as well. "Neither do I." They faced each other, tension thick. "You don't trust me," Deacon said. "No," Katie admitted. "But I trust your fear." That stung. "You know what Brooke is capable of," Katie continued. "So do I. The difference is, I'm finally willing to stop pretending it's accidental." Deacon stared at her, conflicted. "And what happens when this blows up?" he asked. Katie's voice was steady. "Then at least the truth will finally be out." Brooke senses a shift. Across town, Brooke Logan stood in her bedroom, staring at her reflection. Something felt off. She couldn't explain it, but lately, conversations stopped when she entered a room. Looks lingered longer than usual. Whispers followed her. She brushed it off. She always did. Katie wouldn't dare, she muttered. But a flicker of doubt crept in. Deacon's decision. Back at Illinois Giardino, Deacon returned to the booth. If I do this, he said slowly, there's no going back. Katie nodded. I know. And if Brooke finds out? She'll do what she always does, Katie said. Play the victim. Deacon exhaled sharply. You help me make Illinois Giardino more than just a second chance, he said. And I'll tell you everything I know. Katie extended her hand. Deal. After a moment's hesitation, Deacon shook it. Neither of them smiled. The first move. Days later, Brooke walked into Illinois Giardino, radiant as ever. Deacon, she said warmly. I hope you're not too busy for an old friend. Deacon forced a smile. Never. But this time, he watched her differently, listened more carefully, and somewhere across town, Katie felt it. The balance was shifting. Katie's quiet victory. That night, Katie stood on her balcony, the city lights glowing below. She wasn't celebrating. She was preparing. Brooke had always underestimated her, always assumed kindness meant weakness. But this time, Katie was done being underestimated. And Deacon Sharp? He was no longer just a bartender with a past. He was her wild card. Her proof. Her quiet weapon. Closing beat. At Illinois Giardino, Deacon locked up for the night, the weight of his choice heavy on his shoulders. He had wanted redemption. He had wanted respect. Now, he had something far more dangerous. An alliance built on truth, ambition, and betrayal. And once the first secret fell, nothing in Brooke Logan's world would ever be the same again.